Good morning, fellow traders. This is Doug Campbell with Right Way Options, and this is the morning market prep video for January 15th, 2025. Well, today is a big day, the beginning of the earnings season with big bank reports coming this morning. And we also have some big economic data coming our way that could certainly provide lots of bullish inspiration or a lot of bearish inspiration. So I chose today not to write a blog because I think everything we talk about here could change in about a blink of an eye as we move forward this morning. So let's get into the video, but please understand that things could really change quickly here before they open, for the better, for the worse. Let's take a look at what happened overnight. We had Asian markets last night. They were mixed last night. We had Australia was down 0.22%. The Nikkei was down 0.08%. India was up last night. South Korea saw a few gains last night. Hong Kong was slightly higher at 0.34%, and the Shanghai reversing yesterday's strong gains a little bit, pulling back 0.43%. If we take a look at European markets this morning, now they are strongly bullish. They had some news out of the UK with a surprising change, and inflation in the UK came in less than expected. So that's some good news. And so we've got some bullishness across the board there in Europe. We've got the DAX up 0.78%, the FTSE is up 0.74%, and the CAC being up 0.40%. By the way, we just got the earnings for JP Morgan. It looks like JP Morgan is moving to the upside here on the first big bank report. So we'll want to be keeping an eye on that. Looks like it might be trying to break out up here. So keep an eye on that. That certainly is going to be bullish for the market, the first official earnings of this quarter. Looks like it's being responded to in a bullish way. We'll see if it holds as they go through the conference call here today. Let's take a look at U.S. markets here this morning. U.S. markets, NASDAQ futures are up pretty solidly here this morning. Right now, they are up, Dow futures are up 155 points at the moment. The S&P 500 futures are up 1875, and the NASDAQ futures are up 76 points, kind of bouncing around in there this morning. So looking pretty bullish overall here for the day. Let's take a look at a few other things here this morning. When we take a look at oil, let's look at XLE here. XLE here has been on quite a march to the upside. But this morning we've got oil futures. They've been fluctuating around just a little tiny bit. Right now, showing a little bit of bullishness in those futures. Right now, we've got oil up 10 cents a barrel at 77.60 a barrel, easing off just a little tiny bit. We've got Brent crude at 80.02 a barrel. And if we take a look at natural gas, we've got natural gas a little bit higher this morning as well. Up not quite 3 cents, but pushing to that upside here in natural gas. If we take a look at precious metals this morning, well, gold's having a good morning here today. Right now up $25.70 an ounce. Looking to strengthen. As a matter of fact, it just ticked up to $25.90 an ounce. And if we look at silver is up 37.5 cents a share. And we are looking at 30.72 an ounce there. So we've got silver trying to push its way to the upside. Copper is also trying to bottom out here, showing a little bit of buying coming in there on copper, up about, a couple of cents here in copper. Platinum is higher this morning, and palladium also enjoying a good morning here, pushing to the upside. So keep an eye on that. Now, one of the reasons that is the case is we are seeing US dollar pulling back here just a little bit, and US dollar is easing off because we've got bond yields easing off just slightly this morning. We've got the 2-year bonds at 4.35%. Remember, the high yesterday was 4.40. So coming down just a little bit. We've got 10-year bonds coming down a little bit at 4.77%. And those 30-year bonds are off of that 5 handle yesterday at 4.96. So still relatively elevated, but easing here just a tiny little bit. So let's take a look at our index charts, but how about we settle in and buckle up, and let's get ready for the Wednesday edition of the Morning Market Prep video. Good morning once again, everyone, and thanks so much for being here. Very much appreciate it. Today's a big day for the market with a lot of data coming our way. It really could set the mood for the overall market moving forward. So we'll want to be paying pretty close attention here to all the data points that we've got coming this morning, and the volatility that's likely to occur here in the market. Now, taking a look here at the diamonds, we're getting a nice little push here in the pre-market to the upside, particularly after the JP Morgan earnings report. Let's watch these areas. If we can continue to see that bullishness here this morning, let's watch this resistance up here to see if we can break through that last lower high. And honestly, this is one of the things that I want to see. I want to see those bulls come in and push to the upside, because the truthfulness here on my part is I kind of want to get short the market and see another opportunity here maybe coming as we relieve this selling pressure here in the market. Now, I could be absolutely wrong, and I may change my opinion on that here soon, depending on how all of these reports start coming in, but we'll watch that closely here today. So if the bulls can continue to find that inspiration, maybe pushing up into that last recent high point here in the chart, breaking through there would change things maybe pretty significantly if we were to break right up into here, into this resistance in the chart. Now remember, one of the most important things when we break a downtrend like that, what we have at this moment, we still have a downtrend in the Dow. The downtrend is still in play, and although we are rallying up, remember, before we can start any kind of an upside trend, we have to rally up and then prove to hold a higher low. What we don't want to see, and what I think is still possible, is we could rally up and then we see those bears come back in and start pushing back down, and we could easily make that new low in the market. Now, keeping an eye on this today, if we for some reason get some data today that reverses this bullishness here this morning, then watch carefully for a push back to the downside here. We might retest this area of support, and then of course right down in here to test this area of support if those bears were to find inspiration. Now, our SPY, remember, this is still a bearish head and shoulder top in the diamonds. If we look at our SPY, SPY has been making lower highs and lower lows here, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. That is a downtrend, and right now all we have going on here in the market is a relief rally back to the upside. So keeping an eye on that, if we take a look in here, if those bulls can continue to find inspiration, we're going to need to break up through this area of price resistance in the chart. We need to pop on through there If we can, then I think we still have that opportunity. We could stretch up toward this downtrend. So watch that carefully here in the SPY, and I'm really kind of hoping that occurs. We get that nice little relief extending up, and then I'll be watching for those hints of some potential shorting activity here in the market. If, however, the bears were to find inspiration today and disappoint me, which the market tends to do quite often, disappoint me, we could see a big reversal here today. If the data comes in ugly, watch that carefully. Pushing back down below here would certainly raise some concern or fear in the market, and see that possibility that we would retest these lows and maybe even make new lows here in the SPY. QQQ, very much the same. Not much I can say differently in here. If the bulls continue to find bullishness, inspiration, and my hope is they will stretch right on up in here to test some of this resistance, test this downtrend here in the chart. So certainly possible with the data that we have today. And if the bears were to find inspiration, well, it's not that hard to see here in the Qs, that possibility that we could use this area as resistance and push down and even see some new lows in the QQQ if those bears find reason to attack. If we take a look at IWM, again, another one of those bearish head and shoulder patterns. We've had a nice little relief back to the upside, testing some resistance here in the chart, and I'm really kind of hoping we relieve this even more up into some of these resistance areas, and maybe even up into that downtrend here in the chart. So keep a close eye on it. And by the way, you could draw that downtrend differently than I've drawn it pretty easily. So watch that carefully here as we approach all these points of resistance. We've got this trend here, upside trend that we broke. So up in here, we've got multiple areas of price resistance that could all come together at the same time. So keep an eye on that. Remember that our indexes are still below their 50-day moving averages, and anytime we rally back up toward the 50-day moving average, well, we can run into that resistance area in the chart and see some problems here for the market. Let's take a look at our VIX here this morning. Our VIX, we had a little teeny tiny pullback here yesterday. As a matter of fact, we had that real surge right at the end of the day. The VIX was still holding on to a little bit of a white candle there. So as we rest or pull back, and I would guess if we can continue to see this bullishness this morning, we should see this pull back even more. Now remember, we've got this upside trend here, so let's watch that carefully. If we see that VIX pulling back, breaking this area of price support, pulling back into here, well, then watch that trend in the chart. If the bulls are really successful, they need to break that upside trend here on the VIX. Now, if we were to see those bears find some inspiration here today, of course, I still think I want a little bit more relief rally to the upside. I'd look to see this come back into this trend area here. But if those bears were to get going here today, then a pushback up would probably raise some significant concern in the market. So be prepared for some volatility today. If we take a look at our T21, let's go to T21.22 first. T21, I got to learn to type. T21.22, and taking a look at this, T21.22 has that nice little relief back to the upside. So this morning's gap up open is likely going to put us all the way up into here. We're likely to be in the bearish reversal zone this morning if that holds throughout the morning, and that's a good sign for me because we have pushed really hard here, and we might be up here right in the place where we want to start looking for that little bit of sell wave to come back in the market. So watch that carefully. If the bears, however, were to find inspiration today, notice that we have opened a very big opportunity for those bears. So if we do get some bad data here today, watch carefully for that quick flip of sentiment, and we could move down pretty sharply in the market. Again, my hope is we get a little bit more relief to the upside here before that occurs. Now, if we take a look at our T2108, percentage of stocks above the 40-day moving average, we had a nice little increase there yesterday, but looking at this, guys, it wasn't all that impressive. Now today, with this big pop, that might change. We need to break out of this resistance here in that chart and then start moving back up to some additional areas in T21 or T2108 and start pushing back up toward this 50% area up here. But I want you to note that we have really extended our T2122 quickly, and we haven't seen this improve all that much just yet. It may change today, but watch that closely. And remember, if the bears were to find inspiration, well, we've got this support area here, and we can go lower in T2108, so watch that close. And our T2107, we had a nice improvement there yesterday, but I got it, T2101, a nice improvement there yesterday, but notice that we didn't come back up. We didn't break through any of these resistance areas in the chart. So if the bulls can find inspiration, we need to pop this area, and we need to start moving up and progressing up through some of these recent areas in the chart, testing some resistance areas and moving back up toward that 50% is where we need to go. If the bears were, however, to find inspiration, you can easily see breaking down below here, we're going to start looking for these next areas of price support down here in the chart in T2107 if they were to get going. And our T2101, this is the one that concerns me the most here, as we have this bullish relief rally coming into the market, we are not seeing it being accompanied by market breadth. That market breadth actually pulled back yesterday. It wasn't as energetic. So hopefully on this bullish move this morning, we can get that breadth that pushes us up and see that bullish breadth following the market. Otherwise, I'm afraid those bears are going to be emboldened, not seeing enough energy to the upside. So watch that carefully, because we could certainly see some volatility in the market as well, with some significant whips, so be prepared for that. Let's take a look at a few charts here for this morning, but before we do that, let's take a quick look at our economic calendar. What I've been talking about here all morning, and the reason I really didn't write a blog is just simply because everything can change so quickly here today. First off, we're going to get mortgage applications here this morning. There they are. Mortgage applications have come in. Looks like we have, a big improvement here. Not what I would have expected. A big increase in those mortgage applications. This is weird. I mean, this is really weird to see numbers like this. Something doesn't seem right here. But we'll see. That's huge. If all of a sudden people are running to buy mortgages at the higher rates, a real surprise here on the day. Let's take a look. We've got Barkin speaking here today. The big number of the day is, of course, going to be this CPI number. They are expecting by Econo Day that number is going to stay flat here on the month over month, but increase on the year over year. So keep a close eye on those numbers. Ex-food and energy, they're suggesting year over year stays flat as well. So keep a close eye on that. If this number were to come in hot, obviously the market probably won't like that. If it comes in less than expected, like our PPI did, market's going to celebrate. So keep a close eye on those numbers. We've got Empire State Manufacturing here this morning, and they're expecting a pretty substantial increase in Empire State here today from a 0.2 to 1.0, so keep an eye on that. We've got petroleum status numbers here this morning. We've got some more Fed speak in here, some bond auctions, a beige book will be in there, so watch that carefully. And remember, as we move through, well, we've just got more earnings coming in on Thursday as we really start to ramp up on those earnings reports, and we've got a busy morning here with jobless claims, retail sales, Philly Fed, import-export, business inventories, and housing market index. All of these can be potentially market moving with a natural gas report, bond auctions, and the Fed balance sheet. Remember, going into Friday, remember we have a 3-day weekend coming up with Martin Luther King. The inauguration of the president will be on Monday. Lots of uncertainty surrounding those things, so kind of keep in mind as we move into this end of the week, make sure you're positioned carefully in your trading to handle the possible volatility that we could see. Let's take a quick look at our earnings calendar here for today. Now, really quickly, we've already talked a bit about this, but we've got JP Morgan has already reported here this morning. Looks like they're pulling back from the high of the day. We'll see how that goes as the conference call goes on here. So watch that carefully. We're going to get BlackRock here today. Looks like BlackRock is trying to pop here this morning from that low. We've got BK reporting today. We're going to hear from Citibank this morning. We're going to hear from Goldman Sachs today, and we're also going to hear from Wells Fargo this morning. So keep an eye on all of those bank reports. Looks like they're all trying to move up in response to JP Morgan. We'll see how they actually come out when they report. When we take a look at after the bell today, we've got CNXC that will be reporting. We've got HB Fuller that will be reporting. HOMB Home will be reporting, and then we've got some of the regional banks, and then we've got SNV, also a regional bank that will be reporting today. So keep an eye on those after the bell. Let's take a look at a few stocks that could be setting up for today. But before we do that, everyone, if you could do me that quick favor, if this is the first time you've seen these videos, if you could please click that subscribe button on YouTube and also click that bell icon when it pops up so you'll be notified every time I post a video. And if you find these videos to be useful, helpful to your day, if you could do me that favor, click that thumbs up button, leave a brief comment. That helps the channel to grow. Thank you so much for everyone who does take the time to do that. I truly, truly appreciate it. It does mean an awful lot to me. Let's take a look at these stocks, and remember that these are not recommendations to buy or sell any security. You need to do your own due diligence, guys. Make sure you're planning your risk carefully. Remember, with all of the uncertainty that we still have coming forward here by next week, next Monday, there are a lot of things that could occur here in the market and some uncertainty. So be prepared for that volatility. So first off, one of the things stocks I want to talk about here today is BlackBerry. Boy, this thing just came, the 2000s just came right back into focus here quickly, and BlackBerry coming back around strongly here and still holding in a very, very bullish pattern in that chart. I would watch this carefully and see if the bullishness of the day can continue to push this on higher. So keep an eye on that. And Nokia also, these are some real blasts from the past, also showing quite a little bit of bullishness here in that chart, pushing up. I would say right now any rest or pullback then would set up the next opportunity there in Nokia. So keep an eye on that. Really showing some signs of improvement. If we were to take a look at Medtronic, MDT had a really good move yesterday. Nice pop to the upside. Now, you guys know me. I'm not interested in chasing something like that on that big move. What I'm going to wait for is I'm going to wait for this to rest, consolidation, or pullback, and then I would look for that next opportunity for that to start to perk back up. So keep an eye on that if that were to rest or consolidate in that chart. But otherwise looking pretty good. If we take a look at, well, Ralph Lauren, you guys know I've been talking about this one for a while, still holding in there nice and bullish. I think there's every reason to believe that could push on higher, so keep an eye on that. WBA, my goodness, what a run here in WBA to the upside. We're pushing up toward this longer term downtrend in WBA. So what I want to see happen in this is a little rest, a little consolidating pullback, and then I would look for my entry into WBA. So this would just consolidate or even pull back, show me that little rest and hold. Then I'd have some interest in that chart. Now, this might also be something if you like longer term trades. Using a weekly chart, this nice little pop in here is exactly what I would be watching for. And the reason this could be a good thing is because of the big dividend yield that WBA potentially has in here. You can see right now 840 annual yield on this. So watch that carefully. Any rest or pullback in here on that weekly chart would set up that opportunity, I think, for that push on higher here. So I would watch that carefully here in WBA. And it's really not much different than my Whirlpool position that I'm holding that was picked up back in here. And you can see that's continuing to make this really nice run to the upside and had last few days here a really big push on the daily to the upside. And this also pays a really nice dividend yield, about $1.75 a share. So keep an eye on some of those longer term patterns. If you want to slow things down, it's a great way to put some money in your account with a nice slow positions that may just come back up and come halfway back up and just a reversion to the mean in those bigger charts. So watch that carefully on Whirlpool. Other places, take a look at airlines. We really have a lot of bullishness in airlines. American Airlines still pushing to the upside, showing nice growth in here. If we look at United Airlines, still showing strength to the upside despite the rise in fuel prices. That doesn't show any stop here in airlines. DAL, nice little push to the upside, and this little resting consolidation in here sets up that next opportunity, I think, for that upside move. There's your trend out here. So watch that carefully here in the chart on DAL. Also take a look at cruise lines. Nothing wrong with these cruise lines at all. RCL, Royal Caribbean, breaking the downtrend here, pushing through. Any rest or pullback in here, I think, could set up an opportunity in RCL. So I would watch that closely. Anything like that, break on through up here, that would be nice. How about CCL? CCL breaking through the downtrend here, trying to push that resistance in the chart. NCLH trying to make that move as well. So keep a close eye on those, showing some bullishness here in some of those stocks. Take a look at Target. Target has been making this move to the upside here, and yesterday was kind of a rough day for it, so be really careful here. It is possible this could slip and break down below this trend, but if it can hold in this area here, if it can hold in this range and get something going here, pushing back to the upside with the bullishness that we're seeing this morning, well, perhaps we can move this on up and start working to fill this big gap here in Target. So watch that carefully for that potential move in there. Looking pretty decent. Penn National Penn National having a good rally here recently. Big stretch here in Penn National, breaking through some resistance in the chart. So what I'd watch in here again is that little resting pullback, looking for that next opportunity to the upside. Could be setting up pretty nicely there. So watch that closely. Take a look at AMAT. AMAT putting in a nice bullish pattern. We're trying to break this downtrend here. We're holding on to this upside trend. So look for that next opportunity here into Applied Materials. Could be coming around and looking pretty good. And then of course, you know, just about everywhere you look in the oil sector, we've got some bullishness going on, and big stretches here to the upside. Occidental looking good, and now finally resting just a little bit and breaking through this resistance up here. I think is important. A little rest, a little pullback, and I'd be looking for that next opportunity there. Seeing things in some of the refiners really starting to push up here, so rest or pullback would set up some of those opportunities in the chart. So keep an eye on that. Last one I wanted to talk about here today is Cisco. Cisco still setting up and looking pretty good here. Keep a close eye on that, trying to push on through here. If we can continue some bullishness in the market, every reason to believe that could push on higher. So with that, everyone, hey, I want to wish you all a fantastic day. I want to wish you great results in your trading. Thank you so much for being here. I do truly appreciate it. Thank you everyone for your kindness, responding to these videos. You guys are truly helping me every day. Thank you so much. Y'all take care, be safe. We'll see you right back here bright and early Thursday morning. Have a great day.